Those white dead, you're gone. There's not a second chance. Are we entitled to a second chance? Yes. If we don't win here tonight, and we get no results tonight, we're going to go to City Hall next. Does everybody want to go to City Hall? And we'll continue until we get our voices heard. The borough of Brooklyn is under siege. Our mayor is the culprit. He's the one who's stabbing us in the back. And next time when you go out and vote, don't go and vote for a name you recognize. Make them come and hold up to their promises. And if they don't keep up with their promises, throw them out of office. But do you know what? They're killing our children. Our children, do you know the Community Board 1 has the highest statistics of asthma in all of New York City? Can you imagine that? They didn't even do a cancer study. They're probably afraid to come here. The results will be devastating. We can't let this happen. We have to stop it. Millie is a member of Central City's parish, a member of Community Board 1, all her life. She's going to start the ball rolling tonight, and hopefully we'll get some answers to our questions. Tonight, we, as members of a newly formed organization known as O.U.T.R.A.G.E, are here to protest the explosion of the waste transfer industry on our neighborhood. We are a network of over 20 organizations and community representatives who represent Southern Greenpoint, Central, and East Williamsburg. We include church groups, civic and block associations, industrial business and commercial business associations, and schools.
You all hear me? Good. First, it's just great to see so many people out here who are outraged about the problem of garbage trucks in Brooklyn and in this neighborhood particularly. How much trash there is and how many trucks are on the streets. Now first, you have to understand how much trash we're talking about. Each day, New York City generates about 45,000 tons of trash. And that's enough that over the course of a year, you could build a pile of trash as big as one of the Twin Towers. And you see, the city would get a fee from the private carters who use the city facilities to dump their trash, either the incinerator or the marine transfer station, where the trash would get barged to one of the city's landfills. Well, around 1988, the city decided to make a little money if it raised that fee. They also hoped that some of the private carters would use somebody else's facilities and not the city's. Well, what happened? Well, what happened is all of the private carters practically decided to stop using the city's facilities because they were suddenly much more expensive. And the city had never thought about where these private carters would take the stuff instead. And where did they end up taking? They took it here. So overnight, you had dozens upon dozens of illegal garbage transfer stations blossoming like mushrooms after a rain in those neighborhoods. And the lion's share were here. And of course, to get there, the trucks have to pass through residential neighborhoods. And that just compounds the problem. It doesn't make it better. So that adds another couple 100,000 truck trips a day. The landfill is supposed to close by 2002. Well, there's another 5,000 tons of garbage that still has to be exported. As you may have heard in the papers, they're going to start exporting Manhattan's garbage by truck and Staten Island's in a few weeks. And so that's going to result in trucks rumbling through the tunnels and across the bridges to get to New Jersey. So there are other neighborhoods who are feeling the impact of this truck-based system too, and they're just as mad as you are.
Are we outraged?
Yes! For 8 years we have been trying to make a difference, but we were not successful. But because of you here tonight, we hope we can make a difference. We cannot fail again because our quality of life is in jeopardy. We all know how dangerous these garbage trucks are, rambling through our neighborhood streets, and all the pollution they carry 24 hours a day. We will not stand for this. We cannot accept this garbage and 18-wheelers endangering our very life every day we try to cross our streets. transfer station traffic. We are all outraged, and you must do something now. Thank you.
Ideally, we should have a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew on waste processing and garbage hauling. Let me take that back. Ideally, we should have a 24-hour curfew on such activities.
I'm on the Environmental Protection Committee simply because I got fed up listening about what's going to be done and not. Maybe I can't tell you to stop it, but every time something comes up before that committee and they don't give me what I want in my neighborhood, I will vote against whatever they want. But it takes us to have one plan, one agenda, and we all know what it's all about, and then I think we'll see some things done.
What I'd be willing to do, and I've already talked with Richard O.U.T.R.A.G.E, who's the state chairperson of the Environmental Protection Committee in Albany. One way we could bring the state government here is to bring a hearing to the greater Williamsburg community. We hope to have that hearing, maybe in 2 or 3 months. It takes that long to do it. I'd be willing to work with a coalition of leaders here to set up an agenda so that we could bring the state government to the community. I've also talked with both Joe Lenthal and Marty Connors about this. We would do this collectively together, so that's one piece. Now, city members, we've never done this before. I'm sure it could be done easily. We possibly could have a joint committee meeting, both city and state, and that would be the first time. You deserve that. And you might say, is that going to be, is there any answers there? At least that's the beginning of the process. You're concerned, we're concerned. If government worked that easily and we could press a button and change things, then I think you wouldn't even have to lobby. But the fact that you're doing this is very positive. What I'd be willing to do is talk with the city representatives, and maybe within 2 months we could have a hearing where you want to have a hearing and have a dialogue, and where you can get, and maybe we could even subpoena or force those city and state agencies to come to the hearing. So that's one commitment, and that's an outsourcing. And because people on Metropolitan Avenue wanted that, all it would do will probably make every truck say it's easier to go the other direction. And the only way we can do it correctly, and we need to work together, and this is something easily we can do, is to have a coordinated effort so that traffic flow in both directions are responsible. So what will happen now is that we'll move all the traffic the other way, and then eventually you will then get this unit out there regularly to do the same, and then it comes right back to Metropolitan Avenue. I'm asking the traffic department, although I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I spoke with the transportation commissioner and I worked with Victor to actually see and come up with a study if there could be a better plan to address the traffic flow. But the problem is, it's not the trucks only, it's the transfer station.
Before I got elected to the council, O.U.T.R.A.G.E, who was my predecessor, and Victor Robles passed a law to require the city to write rules where transfer stations could go and where they couldn't go in order to protect neighborhoods. Well, about a decade later, we're still waiting for those rules. We've sued the city, we've sued the city, we've sued the city, and when they finally came out with a set of rules, they were only designed to protect Queens and Staten Island. When the mayor decided to close the Fresh Kills landfill and set up a group to talk about how we were going to handle the city's garbage, Brooklyn was not represented on that panel.
Why not?
5 years ago, we got a commitment from the city that they were going to do truck routes for Community Board 1 to protect residential streets from the garbage trucks. We're still waiting for that to happen. Let me tell you why I think that's the case. The people who make these decisions don't see you. The people who make these decisions don't understand that this is one of the most stable, thriving, important, creative neighborhoods in the city of New York. You're the people who live the lives that Mayor Giuliani would like to see all New Yorkers live. You raise your families, you pay your taxes, you go about your business, and they don't see you. They don't see you. And when our report is released at the end of this year, it will call for national standards. It will call for closing the transfer stations that don't belong in residential neighborhoods. It will call for the federal government to come in and to help us solve this problem, because the city of New York has shown over the last decade that they simply don't care. In Al Gore's book, Earth in the Balance, he quotes a former New York City sanitation commissioner as saying that people can march, and they can demonstrate, and they can write letters to the editor, but in the end, the garbage wins. We are determined to work with you to make sure that in Greenpoint and Williamsburg, the garbage doesn't win, the people are going to win.